at home at the dinner table. I was very hungry then. Even 20 years later, after running RateGain, wanting to build the world's biggest travel and hospitality tech company.
Your father is wealthy man and you can travel and things are easy.
That's definitely been an edge, because a lot of people ask me, how did you create a global company sitting out of India where 60% of our revenue comes from the US?
Earn in US and in dollars and spend in India.
Actually, my first employee was the chowkidar of the apartment.
My first team member Amity.
Okay. You could go anywhere. And I was single. So I used to travel across US to all my friends. I came back and my dad's like, okay, ये मेरा apartment है Oscars में, you just work out of here.
Okay.
It's like, मैं इसको यहाँ कहाँ लाऊंगा? In my apartment.
Same story.
Let's just meet at a hotel and I'll bring my key guys.
तू pardon my language, तू फिरंग होके गोरों के यहाँ आ गया. Hey everyone, trust everyone doing great. Welcome back to the yet another show called The Living Pod from Saurabh. Today we have a very distinguished guest. We just met through one of our common investors. He's been very gracious. He reverted to my WhatsApp message and that's how we got started. And then we invited him, and the way he's busy, he visited our campus, Silving headquarters. I thought there's too much more learnings to seek from him, and that's why I was after him. And today I get hold of him. Anyone who's watching this podcast, I can vouch that the learning, it will be very crisp because he's busy. He's an IPO person. He's a listed company. He's very busy, but even within 1 hour of that masterclass, not into his industry, but the way he has built this listed company, which is global. He's a pioneer for SaaS or SaaS. I don't know how we call it. I learned from him. It's SaaS. I've heard all versions. But without me talking about, let's go to him, understand, ask all unscripted, uncandid or candid questions with him. And he is none other than Mr. Bhanu Chopra. He is a founder, chairman of a company called RateGain. I would love to understand why this name came in, because it's a very different name. So Bhanu, it's great to have on a show called The Living Pod, and thank you for your time. Let's get started.
Yeah, sure. No, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Where would you like me to start?
How did you start RateGain? Where the RateGain name came in?
So just to give you a little bit of context and background, I was in the US, and my first job was a job in doing consulting work. I started my career with Deloitte, and as a result of that job, I used to travel quite a bit. And then post that job, I started with a startup. These were the .com days. 1999, around that time, I started with like a .com job, which was actually some of the partners at Deloitte, and they founded this company and was doing something very similar to what I was doing, which was large systems integration projects. Again, in this job also, I was traveling quite a bit, and I was young. And what was one of the perks of working in a consulting job, it used to be very glamorous at that time. It was like the most sort of sought out of.
It was like investor banking or AI.
Yeah. In fact, I actually tried for investment banking also. But when I interviewed at college, I had like 12 job offers from consulting companies.
Wow.
And 0 from investment banks, because I had both a finance and a computer science degree.
You studied in US?
I studied in the US.
And which university? And
I went to Indiana University, and this was from 94 through 98.
And
so,
why US? I'll come back to you. I'm so sorry, but
yeah,
our audience is also young students.
Yes.
And there are people who are investors, they are startup founders, and I'm really sorry I'm interrupting you, but I myself don't know whether I'm a tech or a travel tech or a prop tech. So that is where I keep swinging. But why US and why Indiana?
I'm trying to recall why did I get this kida that I wanted
you
to
will get
go
lots
to
of why for me.
It's a long time back. So I think it's something that maybe my dad instilled into me, that if you want to make your life, you need to go to the US. At that time, that was that craze with Indian parents that go to the US and make your life there. And I think a lot of that inspiration I got from him. And the other thing was, I was always very keen to get into tech. So when I was in class 7 and 8, I was doing computer classes from an IIT. and I was sitting with like all these college students and learning how to code. So maybe those were the two reasons why I decided to go to the US. But coming back to your question about how did the RateGain idea?
No, before that, you are completing your thoughts about how did you start? 1994, you did your undergrad. Undergrad or postgrad?
Undergrad.
And you were there.
98.
Yeah, 99.
And then I started with Deloitte. I worked for a
Right.
couple of years. And I started with this startup, which was founded by Deloitte partners.
And what was that?
It was called Round Arch. And it was a very...
Round Edge.
Round Arch.
Okay.
And it was a very, very similar company to Deloitte in the sense that it was doing
Okay.
tech consulting, helping implement very, very large CRM projects. And again, I was traveling. And like I said, it was a glamorous job. You're traveling, 4-5 days a week. And we had a very nice perk that instead of coming back home for that fare, you could go anywhere. And I was single. So I used to travel across US to all my friends and always looking for the best deal because I had to be within a certain budget. So that sort of gave me the idea of building something like a price comparison website. And so fast forward to about 2003 or so, I started building on this idea. And then early 2004, I read some news on Kayak that they had raised a bunch of money on this. And
Which one? Kayak. Okay, Kayak. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Kayak raised a bunch of money. And I was like, okay, I'm not the only idiot thinking about this. It was kind of like a validation of the idea. So then I was any which ways very keen to move back. But before that, I also had started a company in the US. So after my startup, I launched another company. So I come from an entrepreneurial background. I had the entrepreneurial bug. So I started this company.
Your father was also into business.
He was actually into real estate and construction.
So you come
And-
from a wealthy family. Of course, you studied in Indiana and there's no
Yeah.
shame into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I was blessed. Yes, I didn't have to, do odd jobs.
Right.
My education was fully paid for.
Does that help
Uh,
as a student? Someone in US, and we'll get back to the story. And that's why I'm scripted. My curious mind. Because for me, the core is how students should be, or any young entrepreneur should be thinking and learning from, people like you. So you were privileged, and you got Indiana. Still, you build your empire on your own. But does that help coming from an entrepreneur background, and also where you don't need to think about to make your means or do odd jobs, and then focus more on education and focus on skills and or like, you got my point.
Yeah, I am not sure. I think it fundamentally boils down to the hunger that you have. And so you're right. I mean, in fact, I find very few entrepreneurs in my generation that, come from a privileged background. But I can tell you, I was very hungry then. I am still very, very hungry.
And young. Not single.
Yeah. And even 20 years later, after running RateGain, I am still wanting to build the world's, biggest travel and hospitality tech company. And there is still a huge amount of hunger. So I don't believe that the kind of background that you come from can really determine the level of hunger that you have.
I will interrupt you here. You know why? Because I believe it happened. It works two ways. When you come from, you have seen your father doing great.
Yeah.
Either you need to have in deep inside you, like, I need to supersede this, and that hunger might be coming from that benchmark you have seen, or you come when you see your father's wealthy man, and you can travel and eat, things are easy. You might divert in a way where, like, there's no hunger or there's no aspiration. Probably.
No, I think that's a great observation. I do think that father is a very important figure, and he had a great amount of influence on me. And he was, I lost him unfortunately, but he was always my mentor. And
what was his name?
Sarvesh Chopra. and he was a huge sense of an inspiration. But the point I wanted to make to you on the observation that you had, I think it did have like a big impact on me, because I saw my, father worked very, very hard, put in his blood and sweat into how he built the company, and he did it all single-handedly. And he was, to quite an extent, my grandfather was also an entrepreneur, but very much built his own empire on his own. And now I have, grown-up kids also. So I do feel like the thing that I take a lot of pride in is that they have a lot of hunger as well, and the inspiration I also feel for them, is the fact that they see me, even
Either they will be like,
yeah,
यार इससे ऊपर नहीं हो सकता, या like ये तो benchmark है.
ha.
It can
No,
work
no,
anytime.
I actually see my son say this to me also, that look, I want to be, more successful than you have been, and there is an inspiration to see that I'm at it, constantly. So yeah, I think if you have a role model in
That
your
age,
house
yeah.
at that age, it's an impressionable age. That becomes like ingrained into you that this
ये
is
तो करना ही है, मतलब
ये तो
ऐसे ही
करना ही
होता
है,
है.
ऐसे ही होता है.
How you ensure, consciously or unconsciously, that your kids are getting influence you in a right or a better way?
It's not consciously.
organic.
It's been organic. There is huge amount of transparency at home, at the dinner table. I share both the downfalls and the triumphs with them. Actually, my mother complains that you expose them too much to too many things. Just crazy amount of transparency on what is going on in my work life. And then there is also this is something that I do consciously, is keep condensing. I actually write a lot, like personal journal, and I think I'm quite reflective. Sometimes I feel like I overanalyze, but I'm always thinking about what are my key learnings, observations from all the good things and the bad things that are happening, and I try to also communicate the same to my kids. So consciously, I'm always like trying to give them life lessons.
Insights and
Yeah. So
you're making them think.
yeah, and there's something that I say. I borrowed it from some movie, but I don't remember which one. But I always tell them, you're either somebody or you're a nobody, right? And that maybe also has had some sort of an influence on them, and that there's all this constant talk about like create an impact. How will you help humankind? There is 8 billion of us. Each one has a role to play. At least a couple of inches of this territory that you have, you can say, I enabled it.
How you want to live? You're passionate about entrepreneurship and creating impact. How you want to leave your company or yourself as a legacy? And you already mentioned that, and then that's why when you're talking about all this, I know you have a huge impact on your father, had a huge impact on you, and when we organically cover all this, I'm like, okay, I guess I get my validation that okay, I'm asking the right question without going through the question, So let's get back to your story. So 2004 kayak happened, you got a validation,
Then I moved back to India. So I said, I'm going to build a price comparison website.
why you thought that? Because there was nothing back in India like kayak.
No, actually, I didn't want to build kayak for India, because at that time, so I wanted to build a
So this
price
is 2004.
comparison. Yeah,
2004 you came back to India.
correct. So end of 2003, like December 2003, and I wanted to build this website for the US consumer. Because remember, at that time in India, we didn't even have OTAs, right? Or that, because the idea was to price compare different OTAs. In fact, if I recall correctly, even Make My Trip started. It didn't start in India. It started for offering
Indian NRIs to
to get like cheap tickets to India, right?
Yeah.
And so my idea was to do price comparison of, at that time it was Expedia, Orbitz, Travelocity, Some of those names don't even exist right now. And I wanted to launch the site for the US consumer. And also remember, because my background was mostly US.
So you have the inside.
So my and I went there when I was 18. So even now I think half American the way I think about things. And
that's an edge.
that's definitely been an edge in creating, because a lot of people ask me, how did you create a global company sitting out of India where 60% of our revenue comes from the US, 25% comes from Europe, and the balance comes from APAC. And India is like, which I was sharing with you earlier, is like very small, right? So definitely it has had an edge in creating a global company.
And then same, deep inside, that's why my vested interest to spend more time with you, because same, 60% of business come from UK and Europe,
Right.
based out of India.
Yeah.
So I have somewhere, and the other day I was talking to Deep, right?
Yeah.
Deep, sorry,
Yeah.
he's a legendary, right? So same, I guess there's something wherein I have to have this thesis that earn in US and in dollars and spend in India, it's
In
win-win for
rupees.
everyone.
Yeah.
And in rupees.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So then,
So I launched the website, and very quickly
and it was RateGain.
it was RateGain.
And
at
नाम
that-
कैसे आया था?
हाँ. So RateGain का नाम आया क्योंकि what we're doing price comparison, right? And we are giving you the best price, which helps you gain a great deal. So
इतना नहीं सोचा था आपने कि RateGain.com SEO के ये होगा, ये सब
नहीं ये सब नहीं.
It's a
We
organic
were
app.
sitting like 4 or 5 of us sitting, and it's very funny story. I moved back to India, and I didn't know anything, right? Because I'd spent a decade. I was young when I went to the US. I came back, and my dad's like, okay, ये मेरा apartment है Oscars में, you just work out of here. So
Where in Hawkins?
Aurobindo Mark.
Arvind Kumar.
Yeah. And so it was an apartment on the second floor, and I hired literally, just when I got there, I hired like 3-4 people. And my first employee was the chowkidar of the apartment. And I used to, because I
आप
had
जानते
a
थे
tech,
किसी को?
and my
Right.
tech degree tha, so I used to code during the day and make calls in the evening. And he used to make me omelets for dinner. And he hired a few people, and we were just sitting just like that, and we just came up with this name. When we were talking about, like I explained you the logic. But very quickly I realized, and at that time there was no venture capital. I had no idea of venture capital. I couldn't even spell
Internet
it.
ही नहीं था तो venture
हाँ,
capital
तो
तो
मतलब like it was a very nascent industry at that time, and
But your dad encouraged you.
my dad
That was very important, because you like think of
Yeah.
this way. Today, let's say, my daughter has spent 10 years in UK. Now she is back. Okay, she knows that she's not on a survivor mode. No, but still I would question, तू क्या कर रही है? क्यों कर रही है? Internet है नहीं यहाँ पे. OTAs है नहीं यहाँ पे. I have a real estate business. And it's making money. You went abroad, you spent 10 years. Now एक तो तू, pardon my language, तू फिरंग होके गोरो के यहाँ आ गया है. उसके बाद तू जानता नहीं किसी को, and you're doing something which is, so Mr. Chopra must have not got it कि what he's up to, but still he was encouraging you, or at least he let you do what you
No,
want.
I don't want to use the word he encouraged me, because he actually
I'm trying to soft.
yeah, he actually, to be honest, he
क्योंकि
actually
Chopra Punjabi, and I know how we all think.
so he discouraged me when I said this to him. I declared to him, I'm going to come back to India, I'm going to start the startup. And he was also like, you're doing so well in the US, why do you want to move back? Life is good.
and वो green card वगैरह हो गया था 10 साल.
मेरा green card हो गया था. So I had green card also. And he said, there's nothing here. What would you do here? You have a very well established. And at that time, I had also started my own company in the US. So I worked for the startup.
Consulting one.
The consulting one. It's doing similar kind of work. And I got some very good Fortune 500 customers. A colleague of mine from the startup joined with me. And he used to do the more sales commercial. I would do more product
Green
tech.
yeah.
And so he definitely didn't encourage me. So we moved back, and I said, I have to do this because this is what I want to do. And
But for me, it was gut feeling. It was data which convince you, okay, kayak race, kayak is a US
नहीं इतना
company.
सोचा नहीं,
इतना सोचा नहीं था.
मतलब like it was just
आप
like
कोई story नहीं बना रहे हो.
हाँ,
You went with the flow and you
I
were
went
like,
with the flow, and also even today, and I talk a lot about this. I'm a big believer of, doing your input and not tying it to the output, because the output is always going to be disproportionate to the input over a period of time. But you have to be very, very focused on the input. And I had this very high degree of confidence, because see, I didn't mention this to you. I topped my school.
DPS?
No, in Don Bosco.
Don Bosco.
I was topper there. I went to college. I got scholarship.
Which college?
I didn't need.
You went straight to Indiana.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I actually went to another for one semester. I went to another one.
You have
and then I transferred, but I had scholarship. And although I didn't need the scholarship because my dad.
तो addition तो मिलता ही है ना.
हाँ. So
और आप जहाँ पे आप रेट गेन बना रहे हो आपको वो डील्स के लिए तो स्कॉलरशिप तो बड़ी चीज है.
So and then when I started my career also, like Deloitte was the company to go work for from my campus. So I had this
like
level
you were
of
alpha.
Yeah, so I had some level of confidence. कुछ तो कर ही लेंगे.
कुछ तो कर लेंगे.
But इतना सोचा नहीं. अब ज़्यादा सोचता हूँ मैं.
अब लेगेसी है ना.
अब लगता है ज़्यादा, बहुत ज़्यादा सोचता हूँ. Too much analysis paralysis type situation happens. We decided to change the model. We said instead of being B2C, because of the amount of money it will require, we'll go B2B. And one of the big OTAs, I don't want to name them, I wrote to them, and the guy wrote back to me that we'd be interested to get your price comparison because we are competing with other OTAs, and let's run a test. So we ran a test. It went well, and he said we want to do this in a bigger way. So I'm going to come and meet you. He was in Australia, the guy who was dealing with us, and he says, okay, I want to come see your operation because we're going to do this in a much bigger way. So it's like, मैं इसको यहाँ कहाँ लाऊंगा? In my apartment.
Same story. I tell you what you can lead. Same story.
So I said, wow. How do I overcome this point on having a large operation? Because literally it was a bedroom. I removed the bed and I put 2 desks. The apartment in Hoskas, it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and we had, maximum at that point we got to like 10. This was early months, and so he decides to come over, and I made some excuse, that we had like an electricity issue and we had some short circuiting. So let's just meet at a hotel, and I'll bring my key guys. So a couple of developers, I took them and I introduced them as vice presidents, and it all, and the good news is even today that we are working with them. They're one of our bigger customers,
right?
And thanks to the person there who took a leap of faith on us, and so that changed the model. But I did try again to launch
B2C?
A B2C. This was 3-4 years later, and we called it Hoteli. This you will know because you were in UK. In UK, I had a partner who said, who had a lot of experience in B2C, and he said to me that let's launch something that takes advantage of user-generated content. This is in 2007, 2008.
Wow.
And in UK they call television telly. So we said we are going to produce videos generated by users instead of using those glamorous pictures.
UGC,
and,
what we call it.
And user-generated content. And so the idea, I think, was great, and we called it Hoteli. So hotel with the videos, like television.
Right.
So Hoteli. Telly is what in UK they call it. So we actually launched it in the UK, but we were much ahead of time.
When was this? 2007-8?
2007-8. But I think we were ahead of time because that time bandwidth was an issue. The videos wouldn't load up.
Right.
And
people were still not very conscious about testimonials and videos. And now, I guess now that time is gone. The perfect time was probably till when the social media were in their peak. 2013 till Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that was another time we tried it, and then after that we just stayed focused. So we built the company going back to getting this large customer, which was on online travel agent.
But
As
then when
I
you were
was
working with
speaking,
one, were you not working with other OTAs?
we started working. So once we got
because
this
to do
one,
that, there must be an exclusive contract or no,
no,
nothing
there
like
was
that.
no exclusive.
Okay.
So we started working. I think within the first year we were working with a dozen of them, and then I was speaking at a conference, and one of the large hotel tech players, they came to us and said, we want to do this for hotel industry also, so maybe we can partner up, and we partnered with them. So we became an OEM supplier to them, and that really gave us huge traction because they had like 30,000 hotels that they could sell our product to. So literally, I think in 2007, 2008, we won one of the fastest growing. Deloitte has this Deloitte Fast 50. We were on top of that list in 2007 and 8. So in a lot of ways, I think we got stars aligned. I feel like we worked very hard,
For sure.
but
तो given है.
yeah. And this is what I tell our team also. Even the fact that we went public, etc. Because you see, they talk about so many unicorns in India, but how many of them have actually gone public? Right? Very handful of
The
them.
word is unicorn is mistake.
Yeah. And
And you tell your team that even if you are now your IPO, you tell something.
no,
to
I
the
think
team.
the larger point I was trying to make is that we all work hard. And you called me for this podcast because now we are IPO'd and we've done well. But I do feel that there is something out there that's watching your interests. What people call destiny and stars aligning. So there is a part of me that has belief in that. You do your bit, but then ultimately
Yeah,
the universe controls the outcome to quite an extent. That was really the point. But going back to the RateGain story, how we evolved. So we started doing quite well, and that's how we got exposed to the hotel industry through this partner. And for the most part, till 2011, 2012, we were launching new products with this partner, and we did extremely well. And then this partner
This
decided
hotel partner or the OTA.
the hotel partner,
Hotel partner.
that hotel tech company which was selling. And then this partner had a new CEO, and they had a change of strategy, and they said, we don't want to partner with you, we're going to
Build
our own. So either sell it to us, or we're going to go buy out competition, or build our own. So they went ahead and bought out our competition and tried to move everything over to that platform. So that was a big obviously a big hit to us. Overnight, we lost like 75% of our revenue in 2012. They made like an incredibly low ball offer to us because they knew they controlled most of our revenues. But we fought back, and I think that was also a very, very interesting time because, again, something very unique. And I don't know if you're doing this, but we built out an inside sales team. Okay, because we were not directly selling to hotels at that point. And I hired a bunch of people from Amity and built out an inside sales team.
My first team ever Amity.
Okay.
There are lots of similarities.
Similarity.
मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है कि मेरा outcome 10 साल बाद और ही अच्छा ही होगा. Go ahead.
So, and we were able to recover very quickly. Within a year, we recovered all that revenue. And then it was 2015 when we raised our first round of private equity. And then we said we're going to expand.
How much did you raise, may I ask?
We raised 27 million. Some of it I did because I'd been in it for a long time. For me and our management team, we did some secondary. And we raised the money to go buy a company, which we took a long time. We took about 3 years. Because at that point it became, we started the company with this very niche use case of doing price comparison, and then we moved into other areas, and we then started building as well as buying more capabilities. And so 2018 to 2020, we bought a couple of companies and built a lot of capabilities. And then, of course, COVID happened. which was again uh,
Very interesting times.
very
Another similarity.
yeah.
In our business, we are anti-COVID, right? If people
Yeah.
will not go abroad to study, why they
Yeah.
need accommodation? We grew 3 times in COVID. But back to you.
Yeah, no, so
Lots of similarities, man.
so no, you benefited. We obviously hurt quite a bit,
Yeah.
and we were down to like 10% revenue, which was again huge crisis. Well, not just for us, for humankind.
Yeah.
And
But even in COVID, just falling 10% revenue it also defined that how after your first company, after your first line, when you have 75% of revenues coming from one, you were conscious that you need to diversify, because travel.
Yeah. Well, we did diversify from a product perspective, but not in terms
Destination.
in terms of market segment. We were still attacking travel, so that's why the hit was like almost 90% to our revenues. We were down to 10%, of our revenue, and then obviously things came back, and there was revenge travel, and there's change in people's attitudes, which really benefited us. And end of 2021, we IPO'd. So I think one other thing you may pick up is like every time we've been hit hard, the bounce back is also been
Always,
been quite incredible. So the IPO journey was a lot of fun, and so fast forward to today, we work with over 3,200 enterprise customers in travel and hospitality, all the top hotel chains, the top 25 OTAs, the top 10 car rental companies, the top destination management organizations. So pretty much everyone who's a big supplier or an intermediary is a RateGain customer. So great platform. We take a lot of pride in the platform that we build in terms of the kind of logos that we have in travel and hospitality. And the vision is quite simple now. We want to be the tech, a powerhouse in travel and hospitality, do all the plumbing. What we are focused right now is more on the front office software, which is all around guest acquisition, guest retention and engagement, guest wallet share expansion. But ultimately, we will move into other areas also. But even if I look at the current TAM, it's about 7 billion. And but overall, hospitality and travel tech spend is about 90 billion. So the opportunity is quite large to build very, very big company out of India.
So I'm not leaving you. I have another 30 minutes. 20, almost 23 minutes.
Okay.
Great. Your journey. I want to know more about you. You've been very candid. I understand you're not one of those who like try to create hustle and struggles and everything. But 20 years, 20.
Correct. 20 years.
20 years, right? And you went IPO in 2021. So like now you're IPO after 4 years. I want to understand your journey when we're not IPO. Okay, let's face it. From 2004 till 2015, because we were bootstrapped. From 15 till 20, it was then you were, blue-eyed and venture capitalist, and there's another. There's a swag and there's lots of things open, right? And then IPO. Because IPO post IPO, that 2-3 years of IPO journey, post IPO, so 4 phase. Would love to understand how you transform individually, how your relationship with your family. Probably you spend less time with your father because you were busy traveling. And there are lots of trade-offs and sacrifices we do. 20 years IPO, wow, everyone clap and it's anyone can do it. No, that 20 years, I joke with my wife Bhavna that ये वाला साल बहुत critical है, and now she's like तेरा हर साल critical है, मुझे तेरा time चाहिए, right? But as an entrepreneur, every year, every phase is so critical. So how did you transform?
So I think on the family side, maybe you should talk to my wife and kids and my mom.
वो तो गाली पड़नी है.
हाँ, नहीं मेरे को नहीं लगता.
नहीं,
मुझे नहीं लगता.
You're balancing out well.
I feel like, I'm there for everything. I have at least from my.
उनसे पूछूँ भाई, क्योंकि मेरा same narrative है. यार मैं PTM भी जाता हूँ, मैं तो कर रहा हूँ सब कुछ, but your story.
Or at least they have also not complained to me.
I need to learn how you're
so-
managing the expectation. And
Yeah, so or maybe my wife doesn't want to
I
see,
need to- I-
see
I
as
need to
much.
there. Yeah,
But or my kids, but I don't see them complain about this. But yeah, I'll check with them. So I have had a very good balance. But I think it's a very interesting question on the different phases that you mentioned. How I transformed as an individual in each of those phases. So I think the bootstrap stage almost feels like, in this mode of being a lifestyle business, like we're growing, having fun, enjoying life. There was no like
no expectations, and
low expectations of self also.
it's your own risk. So
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, phod denge, kuch kar jayenge, own the universe. None of that. It was like just do your best and enjoy life, etc. That was the mode.
but you're happy when you came from US to India, and you were happy with your decision
Very,
deep inside.
very. Now or
That time.
obviously that time, no, I don't think I've regretted it 1 minute. I've been extremely, I feel like almost blessed that what stars aligned and I came back, because I don't think I could have done as well if I just stayed in the US.
और उस समय ये भी था कि that time two one happened. So you have seen some kind of like edginess in US after that attack and towards Asians, and did you, or it was I'm just like trying to
No, I never
nothing.
experienced
Okay.
it.
Yeah, no worries.
I mean, personally, I didn't see any issues, racism, anything.
but होता है अब any student who is thinking to go abroad, especially US, at this point in time especially, do you think
My son is there now at University of Chicago. So, no. I mean, I hear it like when you hear people talk on TV and all.
TV is media. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
why
I
we are
have
doing
never,
this.
I've never actually heard it. Like when I was there also, I
You never
didn't-
experienced it.
I never experienced
And also,
it.
is it right to assume that because I mean,
America, I believe, is truly a land of opportunity.
totally. And
Like look at all the tech companies and their
It's an
CEOs.
Indian market, everything is-
They're all
yeah,
Indians
yeah,
now,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And people
Next
see
level.
you very, very differently now than
and
they
you
saw
must have
you.
felt it.
That I feel. So it's all positive.
yeah,
As time has progressed, I think we are trending positively up in terms of the perception of Indians, etc. So going back to
Yeah,
your question
yeah,
on the transformation. So when the first crisis occurred at RateGain, where we lost this big partner, etc., I think that was a pretty tough time because I'd been in it for 8 years. The company was down to its knees. I was like, maybe I'll lose this. And I think that's the only time when I felt like that, that I'm going to lose whatever I built. And it was pretty tough. I think, but I also believe failures are so good for you. I mean, it transformed me in a very, very positive way in the sense that I began to really work on myself. And
It should push you to be a
Yeah.
better version of yourself.
Yeah. And sort of what it is, I think it's all about how you manage this. It's all about
Everything is
this.
here. Yeah.
Everything is here.
Yeah.
How you think about things, it's all in your mind. It's not what is going on and how you're validating in your mind what's going on. It's how you condition your mind.
So how can we condition that? Is it education, travel, good people around, or you've been journeying? See, one thing which I probably taking it. I write a lot, but I
Yeah.
scribe. You probably reflected, and that's where probably you get lots of clarity. And also that give you that probably you get that hidden aspect of you that I need to, there's a mirror to you,
Yeah.
and then you try to improve it.
So what I'm sharing with you are pearls of wisdom. Unfortunately, wisdom can't be taught.
When you're going through it, then it's like I didn't have the answer. It happened. Now, when you hindsight,
Yeah.
you can share. But
No,
wisdom
my-
can be taught. Yeah.
Yeah, so wisdom can't be taught. Okay, it has to be experienced. Okay, so I mean, there are lots of people writing stuff, but still, you have to have your own experiences to contextualize it to your own circumstances. So, ability to condition your mind. Yes, I can tell you you can do meditation, you can watch this movie and read this book, The Secret and Manifestation. There are lots of things you can do, right?
It's your own journey.
But it's your own journey, and you have to consciously work on it and figure out what tools you need to use to really, because I really strongly believe it's all in here, and this is what dictates, because it's not, all of us go through ups and downs. It's not whether you will have crises and setbacks or not. It's actually what counts is the response to it. So in fact, some of it I feel like maybe I was born with it, because I somehow enjoy crisis or thrive on.
We like to be challenged.
Yeah. So
that's an entrepreneur trait also. Probably.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Going back to your how else I transformed. So
bootstrap. I can see we are.
So bootstrapped.
We were bootstrapped. We raised some funds early on, but very small angel funds, and then like few of the institutional funds. But if you see our journey, the kind of fund we have raised, we are bootstrapped. Whatever we have reached, whatever little, it's all bootstrapped. So now my transition is where there are some investors, there are some we are pre-IPO. I also pre-IPO, but they are investors. The M&A on table. There are few other things on table. But this is why I am even more keen now that I understand bootstrap तक ये होता है कि आपका decision से आपका risk है. You think like यार 100 तक हो जाएगा तो बहुत है. Then you like अरे ये तो 1000 हो सकता है. अरे तो 10,000 तो होने चाहिए, right? So now you are thinking of that 10,000, 20,000 kind of mindset. But bootstrap हुआ. Then when you realized, or when did you find your investor, or investor found you? How was that journey and that phase also now?
Yeah, the
2015 to 2020 kinds.
So I think we earlier in the bootstrap journey also we had occasions when I said maybe we can go faster and raise money, and not successful at it. But then we started to grow very well because of this big setback that we had, and we built our own go-to-market motion, and the company started to grow quite fast. And then at that point also the whole venture capital, private equity, I'm talking about 24-15, it had developed. And so a lot of people found us. And then
who did you raise with?
TA Associates. And yes, and then that journey till, call it like the IPO, and then we had Avatar.
But you raised only one?
No, we had Avatar also, which was in 2020. And that journey, in terms of the thinking, yes, it did change. Now it was like, want to build an institution, want to build something very, very large. And the ambition, I would say, became much larger. It created a lot of pressure also, because now you're answerable to investors. And we did have ups and downs in between, because we did have a year or two where we didn't do as well as we had projected to do. So that was hard. And then I think IPO was a lot of fun.
Tell me what. So from 2020 to 21, like 12 to 18 months roadshow?
No. It was very fast. So the IPO also has a story. It is actually May of 2021. I actually lost somebody to COVID, my aunt, and I got COVID. My older son got COVID, and so my wife said, because this was Delta 2, I think it was called Delta, or how we have those second version, the variant. It was very
brutal,
yeah. And so my wife said, you guys don't live in the house. You move to, we have a farmhouse near in Pushpanjali. So we went there, me and my son. And we were spending a lot of time. And my son is like, I don't want to be here. I want to move to, because, the whole environment in the house was a little bit somber, sad, because of the situation that we're in. And he said, look, I'm not getting to meet my friends and all of that. Why don't you send me to the UK, because the schools are still open and the schools were shut here. And First, he made this presentation to me, like a proper presentation, which said that let's as a family move to the UK. Then the next day he comes, as in, no, we're not
Nice.
moving to the UK. And the next day he comes and makes a, presentation. Okay, let me move to the UK, and he'll send me to school there.
Wow.
So he's in class 11. So I said, okay, I got convinced. But I also got inspired by him. I'm like, he's not in that whole gloomy state. He's still thinking about future, what to do next. He's being constructive, growth mindset. And at that time, the COVID year, Ease My Trip had listed in March, right? And like the start of COVID. So that was the other part of inspiration, that here is a tech company, or tech OTA that's listed, and Ease My Trip.
Okay.
So it's an OTA,
Yeah.
right? And they went public, and I said, well, they did it in COVID, maybe we can do it too, because I did anticipate that things are going to come back and people are going to travel like crazy, because everybody was fed up and everyone wanted to get out. So it was really a hunch that we will recover like a big bang. And at that time I didn't have any numbers to show or anything, but we spoke to a few bankers and they agreed.
And
My
you were
CFO,
profitable.
we
You were always profitable.
were profitable, but obviously at that period, which was the worst period,
Right, your revenue plummeted.
we were at 10%, we were not profitable. So we were projecting. So I called my CFO, and he was in a hospital. He was on a, pretty much, he was pretty much,
that, yeah.
And I said to him, Tanmay, we're going to go to IPO. He's like, are you crazy? Let me just at least first get out of the hospital.
Glad he didn't get a heart attack. Like, hello?
And it was pretty audacious. Again, inspired by my son.
So you got, you listed May 2021, but
no, December. And May is when...
Oh, 6 months.
Yeah, May is when we got the idea. June is when we signed the bankers. But there was a good, educated hunch that we will recover, and we did. And we did really, really well.
But you got your good valuation that point, or we did feel that probably if you would have done in 2022 when it was revenge and all, probably.
There are no regrets. I think it was a great journey.
And how big was the IPO?
So we did about 13 to 1400 crores
in India.
And most of it was to give exit to our investors, our first investor, because they had been in it for 5-6 years.
Right.
And
which you mentioned TS.
TA Associates. And it went fine.
How is the journey post IPO now? Last 4 years.
Yeah, it's been very, very interesting.
Is it the perception of people, now we are IPO company, you have liquidity, you can do lots of acquisition because of your IPO. Did you do some acquisition post IPO?
Yeah, we did. We've done one acquisition, and then we actually raised more money. 2023 we did a QIP and raised more money. And again, it was to just build a war chest to do more acquisitions. What has changed? Definitely, the branding of the company has gone up quite significantly. The perception, both from customers and employees, has been greatly beneficial. The company now, I think, is in a very, very strong position since I actually started. We have not been in a stronger position ever. And I think there is very good investors that we have on the cap table. They're long-term, both domestics and foreign investors, and they are very, very supportive. And I do feel, and we've done quite well. The company, if you look at our CAGR over the last 5 years, has been over 30%. When we went public, we were at 6-7% EBITDA margin. Now we're like 20-21% EBITDA margin. So really great economics, great unit metrics. So overall, it's doing quite well. I do feel though that the best is yet to come.
Yes,
always. And I do feel one of the other things that I do feel is really, really big, which we didn't talk much about, is AI. So I think
Let me divert you here. Let's talk about education, AI, and the future. Let's talk about study abroad. You have studied abroad. Your son is in UK and then now in US, right? As a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a future leader and a future leader, let's merge it. Education, the need of education, the need to study abroad. Then what was your journey? If you would have studied here versus probably you have seen your friends, not comparing, but just give your perspective to the audience. And then, what you went through. Did you have seen your son also go through and it benefited or there were challenges and the future of education or the future of word AI?
Yeah. So
Loaded question. Back to you. I'm listening.
There are many questions
I'm listening.
in that one question. So I think there is going to be a huge. I think just generally, I will make a very, very big statement to what AI is going to do. It's going to change how we live, how we work, how we operate. I think a lot of industries are going to get disrupted. Education to me is one of them. I think the way institutions are set up, how we educate the new generation is going to change very, very rapidly. You would be able to get Aristotle and Einstein to teach you. So I think there is going to be complete democratization to learning. I think the current format of learning will change also. You would be able to learn whatever you want to learn
whenever and wherever.
Whenever and wherever. And a lot of the trivial learning will actually become on demand. It is really, I think where will humans participate in the world of AI is really judgment, right? Everything else, the machines are going to take over. Going back to your other question about...
But what will happen to human if machine will take over?
I don't know. It's a loaded question. I don't know. I worry about this.
Part 2, whenever.
Yeah.
Go back.
I
we'll do a part 2 of this, but let's completely...
But I do think that there is huge ramifications.
Yeah.
And that's why I think some amount of regulation is also important. And going back to your point about studying abroad. As a parent, as a student, I would highly encourage it because I think it did me a lot of good, in terms of being independent.
Because
being
you have the money,
to,
or even to anyone.
Anyone. Yeah, I think it's a huge leg up.
Leverage. Yeah.
I mean, you've done it.
Yeah. I am a part-time alumni of exchange program, but my co-founder is an alum, then due to which I got opportunity to travel a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm very... See, for me, more than just classroom education, it's about the people you're meeting, the travel you're doing, and the more curious and observing you are.
Yeah.
Whether you're in India, whether you are abroad, every day study abroad give you that confidence.
Yeah.
It give you that, when you travel, when you studying with someone in your class from China, Australian, or Nigerian, your perspective widen.
Yeah.
You are a more global citizen.
Yeah.
And probably I believe another common thing, because we think global, we're like, company to globally honi chahiye na. Otherwise, I mean, when there are 8 billion people and there is 192 countries and plus islands, like, why you are building something only for India or for one city or one niche? Back to you.
Yeah.
Back to you.
No, I agree with you. Like, having that experience of dealing with people with different cultures, and teaches you a lot about diversity. So I think a lot of those experiences, you can't put a value to them.
Yeah.
And to me, can you get educated on a formal curriculum anywhere in the world of AI? But it's all these experiences of, exchanges with other different kinds of people and getting diversity in thinking. That is very, very useful
and you
helpful.
spot opportunities.
Yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
China mein to ho hi raha hai. So yahan to human behavior to same hi hai.
And going back to the point about conditioning your mind, it conditions your mind to be more open-minded, right? Versus if you've been stuck in a certain area,
cohort and
if you're in that particular cohort, you're restricted in how you can think.
In
So
fact,
it goes back to what we discussed
Yeah.
about how do you condition your
and this
mind.
is where I interview and go back to audience for a while. See, I always keep saying, whether you study in India, whether you study abroad, whether you can finance it or you don't have means. First, there is lots of resources in. You need to be confident enough and take risks. And take risks, take calculated risks. Don't do for undergrad, go for postgrad. Or study here for 2 years, go abroad for 2 years. Now there are twinning programs in NEP and lots of things happening. But what we can learn from him is that open your mind. Don't restrict yourself to your, like, even not lots of Indians in international students, what they do, they stay only with Indians. They stay only with Chinese. I'm like, don't go then. Stay in a Greater Noida, have a bungalow. Don't go abroad and spend so much money if you want to go abroad.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
But yeah, back to your story. So open-mindedness, education, definitely take. Study abroad for you is take. I caution, because I mean, we are into this is a business, but I am like, I didn't go study abroad from undergrad. I did for exchange program. But yes, I got blessed and fortunate to travel and went through a situation where I didn't get my housing and then start align. I guess another thing which I can learn and I can align. At time you think a lot. Just go with the flow. Learn, enjoy that journey. Be open-minded and just like सब कुछ हो सकता है. There are times you need to be strategic, but just don't put a limit to your mind.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
So then you're talking about education AI now and leadership in AI.
No,
This is a last question.
I think I addressed it. Like I said, I think there's going to be huge democratization of learning anywhere and everywhere. You would have the ability to, think of any of the most famous historians and have you can attend a class where they're teaching in their style. So I think it's going to be, and the level of, I think what is also going to happen is huge amount of personalization, right? Currently, you have to attend a certain class in a certain format, which is applicable to a group of students with different levels of learning abilities. So you could get fast forwarded in your ability because you will have these personalized programs which will cater to you exactly what you want to focus on.
What about leadership? You talk about regulation. AI. I mean, I'm sure you must been watching Black Swans and Black Mirrors and all those, hi-fi, sci-fi, wherein like it's happening.
Yeah, it is happening. It is all this technology exists today. So
leadership.
Yeah.
Human belief. What will happen to human?
Yeah. I think I've also tried to work that out. I don't know.
Yeah. So last bit, which we call rapid fire, and let me put you on even more spot. So one mistake you would actually recommend every founder make early in. I'm not saying don't recommend to make mistake early on.
Try many things.
You just said it because you're like, मैंने तो बनाई नहीं कुछ, जो मैंने किया होता चला गया. What's your bullshit radar instantly triggered by in pitches or in people? You're investing, you meet so many people. What are those like? You're like, don't give me this shallow thing. I know, I can see it. What are those triggers, if any?
Big promises without any data.
One thing founders should keep romanticizing about entrepreneurship, because now entrepreneurship are like, celebrated.
Why they should keep romanticizing?
I mean, lots of founders like entrepreneurship, like we don't need to, give anyone any answer. Like
it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, for sure. And it's okay everyone not to be entrepreneur.
Yeah.
In fact, I met a couple of my friends who like, and I am so impressed with them. Like they're very clear. Yeah, this is not the life I want to lead, and I'm happy. So that is, अभी वो हो गया ना, पहले सबको डॉक्टर बनना था, इंजीनियर बनना था, सबको एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना है, and it's not cut for everyone.
It's not cut for everyone.
Your inner voice sounds most like a monk, a coach, or a strategist.
I don't know.
All three. As per me, all three.
I would say between strategist and a monk.
And a monk. You don't realize, but I'll ensure I'll take lots of coaching from you. Most underrated skill for a founder: sales, patience, storytelling, hiring well.
I think it depends on what stage you are. the stage that we are at, I think for me, the most important skill is hiring well.
Hiring well. No, very well put. Very, very well put. Most satisfying moment. Your first big client or IPO?
I think most satisfying was like 3 years into the journey, we won the Deloitte Fast 50. And we were on top of the
That was
list.
the first validation and
Yeah.
and that to global level.
Yeah. IPOs was very, very satisfying as well. Because it was a
It's a culmination of
and what gave me a deep sense of satisfaction was not the IPO itself, but the resultant reward for a lot of the senior team. And what is now very satisfying for me as we grow the company is not more rewards for me as much as for my team. That is very, very satisfying now. Like ability to create impact for others. I think that is very very high in my.
ये सब चीज़ true होती है क्योंकि क्या होता है मैं हमेशा पूछता हूँ.
वो Maslow's hierarchy of needs नहीं है. It is like that.
Still, हाँ बिल्कुल. You know जब आपको भूख लगती है जब आपको मिल जाता है फिर आप औरों को देना शुरू करते हो, right? But whoever I'm meeting, you know, and luckily, you know, fortunate to meet and rub shoulders with lots of the people who are like made it. And my first question is, यार आप humble हो क्या humble दिखाते हो? Of course आप कैमरा बोलो आप humble दिखाते हो, and people को पता चल जाता है. But generally I've seen people who have been consistent doing really well. वो हो ही जाते हैं because we have taken so much of blows and you have taken so much on it. You're like, यार it's not मतलब वो ego वो सब worth ही नहीं है.
हाँ, that is true.
Yeah. What is all said and done? When it's all said and done, how do you want your legacy to be remembered? This was the last question, which I already you answered a bit, but you know, like Instagram, you know, how Bhanu Chopra from RateGain wants to be remembered.
Insanely awesome.
Insanely awesome. I read something, you know, insanely awesome.
It is my my patented
Takya kalam type.
Takya kalam type.
So for me, it's
live, bottle beer. Live,
learn, achieve. You live, you learn, you achieve. But very insanely awesome is awesome. On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I just wrap this up. So I guess one of the very high energetic discussion. Thank you everyone for keep watching, keep tuning in, you know, giving us love, questioning ourselves, commenting, engaging, also trolling now. You know, I didn't know this word about trolling and now I've started getting trolling, which I believe is a good validation. But, you know, keep watching it, keep tuning it. Keep sharing your thoughts. Any question you want to ask, do comment. I always say that I don't want you to subscribe because, you know, everyone says, I only want you to subscribe because I always say, more followers, better guests, more learning, better utilization of your time. And time is a biggest currency. Thank you so much.